All right, what is up, everybody? It is Jeff from Attack at Random, and my phone just went off in the middle of recording. So, yeah, here's the thing. This is take two again. I'm terrible when it comes to making multiple takes, or not terrible when it comes to making multiple takes, but I'm terrible when it comes to making one single take. I've tried my best to just push through one single take, no mistakes, but mistakes happen. That's how we are. We are flawed as humans. And yeah, so welcome back to another episode of the Attack and Random podcast, where I just take a bunch of nerd related news, geek, nerd, science, tech, anything that I really find interesting because I am a full blown nerd. And I try to relay it back to you in simple and easy to understand ways so that you can know what's going on and be up to take and be more tech savvy than your other friends or your aunts or grandma that gets their news from Facebook. So in this episode, this is I believe episode 9, we got a lot of stuff to unpack. Couple of interesting stuff that's happened this week. We got Nintendo's lawsuits and Microsoft restarting up a nuclear power plant in my own backyard. So yeah, strap in. It's gonna be interesting. First on the docket, we have Nintendo versus Palworld. If you don't know what Palworld is, think Pokemon, but on steroids. And by steroids, I mean these cute, adorable creatures that are packing some serious goddamn fucking heat. You can ride them into battle, arm them with guns, build factories, and force them into labor. And, well, definitely not your childhood Pokemon experience. And that's probably why Nintendo is coming after them. So, Nintendo, along with the Pokemon Company, recently filed a patent lawsuit against Palworld's developers, Pocket Pair. Now, on the surface, you might think this is about the similarities in character design or gameplay style, but no, it's a patent lawsuit, not a copyright one. This means Nintendo is claiming that Pocket Pair has copied specific, patent protected mechanics. And here's where it gets weird. Pocket Pair, the devs behind Palworld, they don't even know what patents they're supposedly infringing on. Talk about being left in the dark, right? Let's unpack this for a minute. Nintendo is notoriously protective of its intellectual property. Over the years, they've shut down fan projects, sued modders, and even sent cease and desist letters to fan tournaments. But in this case, we're talking about patents, which protect ideas and processes, stuff like how a game mechanic functions rather than how it looks. What can Nintendo be targeting here? Well, Palworld does have a capturing system that looks suspiciously like Pokemon's, gotta catch 'em all mechanics. But Palworld isn't just about catching cute animals. It's about capturing them and then using them in some pretty wild ways, like putting them to work in factories or, handing them guns and telling them to defend your base. It's like if Ash Ketchum's Pikachu said, "Nah, I'm done with Thundershock. Where's my rocket launcher?" Now, what makes this case particularly interesting is that Palworld isn't the only game out there that's been inspired by Pokemon. There are a ton of monster catching games out there like Temtem, Ooblets, Cassette Beast, but none of them have been targeted by Nintendo in this way. So why Palworld? Well, it could be because of the massive success the game had. When it launched in early access, it sold over 4 million copies in just a week. That kind of success can't fly under Nintendo's radar for long. Here's the thing. If Nintendo wins this case, it could set a dangerous precedent. The game industry has long been a place where developers build off of each other's ideas. If Nintendo successfully claims that Palworld infringe on its patents, other monster catching games could be at risk too. It could mean the end of games like Temtem or Ooblets, as we know them, or at least force those developers to rethink the core mechanics anyway. What's wild to me is that Pocket Pair has responded saying they don't even know which patents they're accused of infringing on yet. they've been blindsided by this lawsuit and are preparing to fight it in court. Their statement was something along the lines of, "We'll investigate these claims and do our best to defend indie developer rights to create without fear of being shut down by big companies like Nintendo." The broader question here then raises is, how do we balance protecting intellectual property while encouraging innovation? You know, indie devs often take inspiration from bigger games, but when does that cross the line into infringement? This lawsuit could be tied up in court for years, and honestly, by the time it's resolved, we could be on Pokemon Gen 12 or Gen 15, 17, who knows? The outcome could shape the future of indie development in a really, really big way. Yeah, this is insane. It's nothing new from Nintendo. We all know Nintendo is notorious when it comes to protecting its Pokemon property because it does make them a lot of money. But, going after a game like Palworld, it just feels like, your ex messaging you, calling your new girl or new man a bitch because you left them and now you moved on to something better. Yeah, as you can tell, this is probably going to be more ex references throughout my videos because fuck her. Anyways, yeah, let me know what you think about this whole thing with Nintendo suing Palworld. It's crazy in my eyes. I definitely want to see where this goes. I'm gonna be, grabbing my popcorn, watching from the sidelines, and keeping tabs on this. Nintendo has a shit ton of money to drag this out in court, so this might affect, you know, Pocket Pair in their pockets. Heh, I didn't want to make that pun, but it was right there. It was low hanging fruit. You can fight me. So, moving on from Nintendo's legal escapades to something much more exciting, Nintendo Switch 2 leaks. So, these leaks have been popping up all over the place, and if even half of them are true, we're in for a major upgrade. The Switch 2 could be the game changer Nintendo needs to stay relevant, against the graphical behemoths of the PS5 and Series X. So first up, I want to talk about the hardware of this. The leaks are suggesting that the Switch 2, it's going to feature a custom NVIDIA chip that supports DLSS. Now, you probably don't know what that means, but it stands for Deep Learning Super Sampling. And that's just a fancy acronym to try to help things run more smoothly. The Switch 2 is also going to have ray tracing. So, for those of you who aren't familiar with the technical jargon, DLSS is a kind of AI magic that allows a game to run at a lower resolution and then upscale it to look almost as good as native 4K. It's how games like Cyberpunk 2077 and Control managed to run on lower end PCs while still looking amazing. Now, imagine that kind of tech in a handheld console like the Switch. It's mind blowing. And then there's ray tracing. If you're not familiar with it, ray tracing is a rendering technique that simulates how light interacts with objects in the real world. It creates super realistic lighting, shadows, and reflections. Basically, your Switch could go from looking like 2010 graphics on the PS3 to having some seriously next gen visuals. Now, talking about the screen itself, rumor has it the Switch 2 will feature a brand new OLED screen, which means deeper blacks, better contrast, and all around more vibrant visuals. If you ever played on an OLED TV, you know how much of a difference this can make. Colors just pop, and the whole experience feels more immersive. Plus, we're hearing that battery life will be improved, which is a huge deal for those of us that play in the handheld mode and don't want to be tethered to an outlet all the time. Or if you're like me and have a shitty Switch that the battery is just dying within the first hour of playing Pokemon, then, it gets really annoying. But where things get really interesting is the rumors about backwards compatibility. I can words, my guy, words, fucking words. Backwards compatibility. There's been a lot of speculation about whether the Switch 2 will be able to play games from the original Switch library. Nintendo's bit of has been a bit, hit or miss when it comes to backwards compatibility in the past. But if the rumors are true, then the Switch 2 might be fully compatible with your current Switch games. That would be a huge win for fans, gamers who invested hundreds and hundreds of dollars into their game libraries. Now, as far as release date goes, there is no official word from Nintendo yet, but industry insiders are suggesting possibly a 2025 release. However, there's also a chance that they could surprise us with an early release. Possibly late 2024, around the holiday season. We all know Nintendo loves a good surprise launch. So, pricing is another big question. Some leaks suggest the Switch 2 could cost anywhere between $300 to $500, depending on the model and features. At $500, it would be on par with the PS5 and Series X, which might seem a steep for a Nintendo console, but given the hardware upgrades that we're hearing about, it might just be worth it. Unlike the whole PS5 Pro. And get this, there are rumors that the Switch 2 could have some kind of VR or AR support. Now, Nintendo's dabbled in VR with their Labo VR kits, but if they can make a proper VR experience that, works with a handheld device, it could be a game changer. I'm imagining a full Breath of the Wild VR experience, and honestly, I'd throw my money at that. Or even a full-on Pokemon VR experience. I don't know how that would work, but it's interesting to think about. Imagine any other game, Nintendo game, that could possibly work within a VR environment. We have Splatoon, Pokemon. I don't know any other games. I mostly just play Fire Emblem and Pokemon and Smash Brothers. And also Mario Party. I don't want it in Mario Kart. I'm just letting you know. I'm a beast. But yeah, that is the overall leaks of the Switch 2. Again, with any leaks, we have to take these with a grain of salt. Things may change, things may not, and some of these rumors could be potentially false. But I'm here just to give you the information because I found these interesting, and I'm also hoping for a brand new Switch to come out. I desperately need one. Not desperately, but I just really would like a new Switch. The Switch is underpowered in my opinion, and having something with a better hardware in it would be huge for Nintendo. Not like they need it, but it is what it is. And going into something a little bit more interesting in my opinion, this came across my timeline when I was scrolling through TikTok at 3 a.m. because I could not sleep. And this is diving into some next level science shit. All right. I'm talking about Final Spark. They are a company that's creating a sort of what they're calling an organoid computing or computer. And this sounds something like something out of a Star Trek episode, but it's real. And it has me wondering, could this be the future of computing? So, what exactly is organoid computing? It's basically a new form of biocomputing where scientists grow tiny brain like structures in a lab. Yes, we're talking about actual biological material, actual pieces of your brain, not your brain, but someone's brain or something's brain. There's actual brains being used here, is what I'm trying to say. And they use them to create computers that think and process information like a human brain. We're not just talking about regular old AI here. This is AI 2.0. And if you've played Mass Effect, this is a slippery slope. There's that one mission where that artificial intelligence shut down that whole entire station. If you play Mass Effect, you know what I'm talking about. Either way, it's a scary but also cool concept to think about. We might have this massive AI overlord that actually has a brain. So yeah, all right. So traditional computers, like the one you're probably using now, if you're even using one now, because you're probably listening to this on your phone, or you're you're more than likely using this on your phone or tablet. Let's be real. But anyways, traditional computers, they process information in a very linear way. They're great at crunching numbers and solving specific problems. They don't have the same flexibility or learning capacity as a human brain does. Organoid computing, however, changes all of that. Scientists are essentially growing small clusters of brain cells called organoids that can mimic the way the human brain processes information. The idea is that these biocomputers could learn and adapt much more like a human brain does. So imagine an AI that does not just follow directions, but learns and thinks critically and grows over time like a normal human. And you're probably wondering, like, how does this even work? So scientists, they started by taking stem cells, which can grow into any kind of tissue, and guide them into the process of developing into neural tissue, essentially, brain-like structures. These organoids can be connected into traditional computer hardware to create hybrid systems that combine the best of both worlds. The raw processing power of a traditional machine and the adaptive, flexible intelligence of a human brain. I say human because that's the only thing that I'm comparing this to, but it could be any sort of brain. There's multiple creatures out there that have brains. Maybe. I don't know if my ex does. So, Final Spark, the company leading this charge, is developing these organoid computers in the hopes of revolutionizing AI. So, let me paint a picture for you, if I can, real quick. Right now, AI systems like ChatGPT or Google's DeepMind are incredibly powerful, but they still have limitations. They rely on massive amount of data and training, and they don't really understand, quote unquote, things the way humans do. Organoid computing could change that. These hybrid like brain computers could process information like we do. Learning from experience, solving problems creatively, and even potentially emulating emotional intelligence. How humans make leaps of intuition, they understand context and adapt to totally new situations. That's the kind of potential we're talking here. And the more that I talk about this, the more creepy and Black Mirror-ish this could be diving into. But it's so fucking dope at the same time. But let's be real for a second. This all sounds incredible, but it also raises some magical ethical questions. Now, if we're essentially creating mini brains in a lab, where do we draw the line? And at what point does a biocomputer become sentient, or at least capable of experiencing something close to consciousness? And what about the moral responsibility that comes with creating these biological entities? Scientists are already grappling with these questions, and it's likely to become a hot topic as organoid computing continues to develop. There are also, practical challenges. Scaling this technology is no easy task. Growing brain organoids that are big and complex enough to perform meaningful computing tasks, it's incredibly difficult. Plus, integrating biological material with traditional computing hardware, it presents a whole host of technical problems. Still, the potential in this is huge. Like super fucking huge, my guy. Imagine personalized medicine where doctors could grow a tiny replica of your brain and use it to test, treatments before giving them to you. Or more powerful AI systems that can think more like humans do, making breakthroughs in everything from scientific research to space exploration. So we might be able to live our own fantasy, not fantasy, but our own Mass Effect style universe minus the Reapers invasion. Who knows? This might be developing the Reapers. Honestly, the more that I think about it, this could be the start of the Reapers and the Reaper invasion, and we need to start creating our own Shepard. We need Captain Shepard at this point in time. We cannot let this continue. And as much as I find this interesting, this is also very dangerous. I don't know. I'm just rambling right now because I want to explore the universe like Commander Shepard and, visit the Citadel because this story is my favorite on the Citadel. That type of Commander Shepard. I lost my train of thought. Anyways, yeah, this is crazy to think about that this is how technology has advanced so far that we're now able to create small brain-like computers, not even that, but like small brain-like structures and combine them with computer hardware to make this organoid, basically android-ish cyborg computer. We're diving into a whole new realm of sci-fi, and it's so fucking cool, but it's also very ethically, morally questionable. So let me know what you think. Are you for this? Are you against this? I'm I'm definitely on the fence about this. I am not going to lie. It is interesting, but also very creepy, and we're slowly diving into that whole Black Mirror style of society. Anyways, let me know what you think. Comment down below. Uh, yeah, this is interesting. So, you know, let's move on from biocomputers and talk about nuclear power because apparently in my own backyard of central Pennsylvania, Microsoft is determined to power their cloud services with literal atomic energy. Microsoft just struck a deal with Constellation Energy to revive the infamous 3 Mile Island nuclear power plant. This is in efforts to help power their data centers. If you remember 3 Mile Island, it's famous for the near meltdown that happened back in 1979, which is one of the most serious nuclear accidents in US history. And again, to repeat, this is in my own backyard. I went to school in central Pennsylvania, and many people here, a lot of the older folks, of course, they remember when 3 Mile Island was on the verge of melting down, how there was a whole spread panic, and how that created a whole mess for a lot of people. There's a place I can go to right now, and I can see 3 Mile Island just within, eyesight. Of course, it's going to be a little bit further away because it's in the middle of a river, but either way, yeah, this is going to be happening in my own backyard of central Pennsylvania. So, why is Microsoft getting involved with nuclear energy? Well, here's the thing. Cloud computing, especially AI research, it requires massive amounts of energy. Think about all the data being processed every single second by services like Microsoft Azure or AI models running on those servers. That kind of computing doesn't come cheap in terms of energy. And Microsoft is trying to find a way make it sustainable, reliable, and keep its cloud computing services running at full capacity. Nuclear energy, despite, the controversies behind it, is one of the most efficient and consistent energy sources. But I cannot speak. It's nuclear energy is one of the most efficient and consistent energy sources that we have right now. And that was a struggle to get through, but I'm gonna keep that in. Where I'm not editing that out, so y'all can see that This is full on me talking. But yeah, you know, and Microsoft has done sort of research campaigns before of different ways to be able to maintain their data servers in a constant and energy efficient way. Last episode, I actually talked about a company that's wanting to drop their servers into the San Francisco Bay in the hopes of keeping it cool. Microsoft did something similar off the coast of, believe it was Ireland. I spoke about this in the last episode. If you haven't checked that out, definitely do. It was really interesting. But yeah, so most of the world's data centers are powered by a mix of different energy sources. Some of it comes from renewables like, wind and solar, but a big chunk still comes from fossil fuels like coal and natural gas. So while renewables are great, they're not always reliable. The sun doesn't shine 24/7 and the wind doesn't always blow, which is where nuclear energy or nuclear power comes in, I should say. Nuclear power plants, they run continuously. They provide a stable carbon-free energy source that's perfect for powering data centers and that, really can't afford to go offline. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Isn't nuclear energy dangerous? Well, yeah, nuclear power comes with its risks, especially when it comes to accidents and the disposal of, radioactive waste. But the truth is, nuclear energy is one of the safest forms of power we have when managed properly. In fact, nuclear power plants have a much lower rate of accidents compared to coal plants, and they don't produce carbon emissions that are driving climate change right now. So, in a way, Microsoft is taking a pretty progressive step by embracing nuclear power to meet their energy needs. And not to mention the potential jobs that can be opened by this. A lot of people have said that nuclear power is the definitely the way to go. But here's where things get interesting. Microsoft's move could spark a whole new trend among tech companies. as more and more companies expand their cloud services and develop advanced AI, their energy needs are only going to grow. So we can start seeing a shift where other tech giants, think of Amazon, Google, and Facebook, they begin to follow Microsoft's lead and invest in nuclear power to keep their servers running. So that could have a huge impact on the energy landscape as a whole, pushing more investment into nuclear energy and potentially even leading to the revival of other decommissioned plants around the world. At the same time, it does raise a lot of questions about the future of energy. Is nuclear power really the best solution for powering the tech of tomorrow? Or should we be investing in more renewable energy sources like wind and solar? Microsoft's deal with Constellation Energy is likely just the beginning of this whole debacle. And how it plays out could shape the future of tech industry's relationship with energy. But yeah, that's everything that I really wanted to talk about this week. At least anything that I found interesting. And yeah, I feel like we've covered a ton of ground today. Everything from Nintendo's legal battle with Palworld to the exciting rumors about the Switch 2 to even brain-powered computers. And, Microsoft reviving their nuclear power plant that's right in my backyard. So, hopefully Microsoft starts contributing into the local taxes because I need taxes to go down. I need shit to go down. I need things to be less expensive because, we all have one life to live. That was an inside joke for myself. Fuck you. So yeah, if you're still with me, congrats. You're officially one of the most well-informed nerds on the planet. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button, leave comments, share the podcast, share it with your friends, share it with your grandma, and let them know your thoughts. Or at least let me know your thoughts, I should say. Do you think Nintendo is going too far with this lawsuit? Are you hyped for the Switch 2? Or are you holding out for potentially a Switch VR? And seriously, tell me your thoughts on this computers that are powered by brain cells. That's still really fucking dope. So let's keep the conversation going. Comment on the Spotify. Comment on the Spotify playlist or podcast thing, Majig. Because Spotify allows you to comment now. Comment on the YouTube, Facebook, like, share, all that stuff. So yeah, that is it for me, guys. I'm out of here. Peace.